to autonomy or self-government in matters relating to, you heard that, self-government, their internal and local affairs, as well as ways and means for financing their autonomous functions. All right, let me read that again. I don't think y'all caught that. Listen. It says indigenous peoples, in exercising their right to self-determination, have the right to autonomy or self-government in matters relating to their internal and local affairs, as well as ways and means for financing their autonomous functions. So that means if I want to go out there and get a vehicle and put a tag on it, by way of that article, in my indigenous status, I can do so. You understand? Because that right there is what's called self-government in matters relating to their internal and local affairs. That's an internal and local affair. I need to get to and fro here.
That was the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says it was signed and adopted in the United Nations General Assembly in 2007. So I guess whoever was president in 2007.
It wasn't Obama, because Obama didn't come president until like 09 or 08.
You said it would have been Bush.
Bush, yeah. Article 5. Indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct political, legal, economical, social, and cultural institutions. You heard that? It says indigenous people, we gotta use this document. And temples, they ain't gonna tell you about this document. Because they'll say, oh, the prophet, they ain't got nothing to do with the prophet. It has all to do with what he laid down. You understand? They ain't gonna tell you about this in there. They don't want you to know. They want you to come in there, be a subject, learn how to poke this front to back, say Islam, go to events, recite the 101s in front of everybody.
So I just wanted to bring to your attention that the United States actually voted against that declaration. 144 countries voted for it, and of the 4 countries that were against it, United States was one of them.
So then it probably was Barack who signed it. Because I heard Taj, bless you.
Bless you.
I heard Taj say that Barack went to Morocco. I heard him say something like Barack went to Morocco once, or Cairo, somewhere like that. And when he came back, he signed the rights of indigenous people. I've heard him say that.
Because I could see Bush and you know his administration not.
I could find out. I hit him up. I hit him up. You'll know exactly.
Oh wait, here it says on the 16th of December 2010, President Obama declared the United States is going to sign the declaration. The decision was announced during the second White House Tribal Conference, where he said he is working hard to live up to the name that was given to him by the Crow Nation, one who helps the people throughout the land. Obama has told Native American leaders that he wants to improve the nation-to-nation relationship between the United States and the tribes and repair broken promises. Today there are over 560 Indian tribes in the United States. Many have representatives in the White House conference and applauded Obama's announcement.
Islam. Ain't that crazy? You said the United States was 1 out of 4?
1 out of 4.
That voted against it.
The 4 were the United Kingdom, of course. Great Britain did.
Same, yeah, same
party. The United States. Hold on. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and United States were the 4 member states that voted against.
Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada,
New Zealand, and United States.
United States.
And actually, that's Morocco 5. Didn't even show up to the meeting.
Who?
It says the ones who were absent. Morocco never showed up.
They didn't need to be there.
Well, I know.
They do really, because Morocco is a kingdom now. It ain't even the
they're not the, yeah, I know.
It's not even the empire no more.
Right.
You can't proclaim to be a Moroccan citizen and try to report you over there. I don't think you want to go over there.
Israel didn't show up either. I just think, like, when you look at this list of who didn't show up and who voted against, it's really funny.
Leave that up there. I want to take a look at that. But yeah, that's self-evident. United States, they don't want nobody proclaiming to be indigenous because they know they got to get up out of here. When you really start to proclaim your true indigenous status and your heritage, meaning how you are heir to the land, you sitting on your own throne. Yeah. You sitting on all your land. You understand Islam? You sitting right on all your land. So of course, the United States ain't gonna want to sign that document. You understand? It makes all the sense in the world. Now understand this in Article 5. This is very important. And it has all to do with why temples don't want you to know about this, because a lot of them COINTELPRO operatives. Article 5, we're going over the rights of the Declaration of Indigenous People, right? United Nations, 2007. It says, Article 5, indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct, what's distinct mean? Distinct means separate, means different. It says they have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct political, legal, understand? We can make our own laws, economic, social, and cultural institutions while retaining their right to participate fully, if they so choose, in the political, economic, social, and cultural life of the state. So that means you can be indigenous and you can still participate in the affairs of the U.S. or what other states you're in. You understand that? Now look, let me read that again. It says, indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct political, legal, economic, and social and cultural institutions. That means we can make our own laws, our own institution, in our own state, in the format of our own state, right? But, not even but, while retaining their right to participate fully, not halfway. It says fully, if they so choose. You don't have to choose, this is your choice. In the political, economic, social, and cultural life of the state, meaning of the United States. It's talking, when it says of the state, it's speaking about whatever state is in question, because this is a document for multiple nations. It's the rights of indigenous people, or the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People. So it's not directed straight towards the United States. It's directed towards any of the parties of this document, which she said was 144, correct?
Yes.
Article 6, every indigenous individual has the right to a nationality. Are we indigenous here? Is black a nationality? Is Negro a nationality? What about African American? I know that's one.
No,
that ain't one either?
No.
Oh, all right. Why are we not African Americans? Why are we Moorish Americans and not African Americans? What's the difference?
African is not an indigenous name to describe or to apply to us. That's really a colonial term.
Absolutely, bang, that's correct. It's a continent and it's a colonial term. It's not the indigenous name of the continent, number one. Number two, we're indigenous Americans. Already, we are Americans, point blank period. If you look up the definition of American, an old dictionary, it'll say one of the copper-colored natives that are indigenous to the land called, the landmass, which is North America. You understand? Copper-colored. All of us in this room. You understand? Now, the reason why we put Moorish in front of American is because Moorish is our descent name. We don't want them to confuse us with Negro American. We don't want them to confuse us with African American. We don't want them to confuse us with colored folk American. So we put Moorish as our descent name, but we Americans, they're not. We was just going over the divine warning in there where he says, let me see, he says, I need help from all true American citizens. try to find it real fast. He says, I need help from all true American citizens. He said, I need support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. So when he say true American citizens, he ain't talking about no European nations, because they not true American citizens. They need green cards from us to be here, if you really truly know your standing. And once we get this whole movement back where it's supposed to be, then we can either kick them out or give them second-class citizenship status, like they did us. Really and truly. This is why the sister was just reading about the rights of the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, where she just said that the United States didn't want to sign that document. One out of 4 nations that didn't want to sign it, and then Obama signed it in 2010. Mm-hmm. That's why, because their livelihood is based and rooted upon the principles that's, or this right here in this declaration, this goes against what their livelihood is. You understand? They make money and profit and gain off of sitting on this continent that don't belong to them. And then denationalizing us from our political status and calling us something else, making it so that we're slaves to a political system, a social system that they have established here. And then we don't know who we are. So we don't know that the land that we're standing on actually rightfully belongs to us. And then we can't start doing stuff like what the empress did, taking back land, utilizing their court systems to get it back. You understand? She went through their court systems to get it back. She didn't get it back as no African American. She didn't get it back as no Indian. She didn't get it back as no Negro, of course, or no color. She didn't say, I need reparations. She got it back because she traced her blood tie lineage back to the Joseph D. Mason Rouge land grant. You understand? Joseph D. Mason Rouge was from France. But what he did was he married into the Washita bloodline. One of the empresses by the name of I. Maria, or I. Maria. He married into that bloodline and owned that portion of Louisiana, which is the upper portion of it, which is what she won back. Because she is of the bloodline of I. Maria and Joseph D. Mason Rouge. And they call it the Joseph D. Mason Rouge land grant, which was falsely sold during the Louisiana Purchase. You understand? She won that land back. She owned the whole upper part of Louisiana. That's private property. It's called Washita proper. And the more and more people start to understand the principles laid out in this Declaration of Indigenous People and how it correlates to them on this land, the more and more we'll start to be able to do the same thing that she's doing. You even got Moors up in what is it? It's like Massachusetts, Rhode Island, one of those states way up there. I don't know, I gotta go back into the record on that one. But they dug up some law, some federal law, that states that certain land masses up there is still reserved to those who proclaim to be indigenous, and they've been taking that land back. I can't remember what the name of these brothers are. I can't remember the name of the state, but it's in one of Hakeem Bey's Moorish paradigms, and I gotta go in there and look it up. When I go in there and look it up, I'll have it for y'all next week. But also, you asked a question on Friday about what month was the old Canaanite temple established. I couldn't find the answer. I looked for it. But however, the Federal Reserve Act was December 23rd. So of course, you know, Noble Drew Ali established the old Canaanite temple, I'm sure, before December 23rd, because that only leaves, what, 7 more days in a year? And I mean, it's self-evident when you see exactly what they did with the Federal Reserve Act and what he was doing, and why they don't ever talk about any of that stuff prior to 1928. You understand? See, I was going over this earlier as well. This book right here was written or published in 1927. So, if you're an adept or a sheik in a Moorish science temple and you can't quote this book back and front, and they sit there and criticize you for not being able to do it, what about the adepts and sheiks before 1927? They didn't know anything about this. It wasn't even out. but there was adepts and sheiks in the Moorish Holy Temple of Science and in the Old Canaanite Temple. You understand? Islam?
Islam.
Let's continue on. Article 8. Indigenous peoples and individuals have the right not to be subjected to forced assimilation or destruction of their culture. You understand? They can't tell you cannot practice Islam in whatever manner you so choose, as long as it's within the bounds of humanity, which Islam is, anyway. It says states shall provide effective mechanisms for prevention of and redress for any action which has the aim or effect of depriving them of their integrity as distinct people, different, or of their cultural values or ethnic identities. Understand? Ethnic identities. That's your nationality card. You can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. And by way of this document, they can't stop you. You don't have to go through their court to do it. When you go through their court and file your documents, however you file them, all you're doing is putting them on notice. You're just making it a matter of public record. For one, a court that is de facto, number one, cannot authenticate a document that's lawful. You understand? That's the same thing with like a temple, because a Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, is a corporation. It's a business. A corporation does not hold your birthright. Your birthright is your nationality. Your mother holds that. You understand? Not no temple. Temple can't say that you need to come here to proclaim your nationality. You don't need to come here to proclaim your nationality. For one, that would be like the U.S. giving people nationality. They can't do it. It's a de facto country. De facto meaning it's an artificial person. This is a corporation. It's a corporation in a civic movement. The purpose of it is to put you on to the principles of nationality and birthright. Not to give you nationality and birthright. Just to help aid and assist you into the science of your ancient forefathers and your nationality and birthright and long government. You can proclaim your nationality on your own, as I did when I first started getting a hold of this information. I was a national before I even went into a temple. Then when I went there, he said, nah, you can't do that. You gotta come through the temple. I laughed. I said, yeah. Continuing on. Any action which has the aim or effect of dispossessing them of their lands, territories, or resources, the state is supposed to issue an effective mechanism for prevention of and redress for that. Article 9. Indigenous people and individuals have the right to belong to an indigenous community or nation in accordance with the traditions and customs of the community or nation concerned. No discrimination of any kind may arise from the exercise of such a right. So can the police tell you you cannot proclaim your nationality? Can the judge tell you you can't proclaim your nationality? Lawyer, prosecutor? That's what they're trying to tell my dad. When he got jammed up in this little thing, they trying to tell him that. They trying to tell him that his documents are fraudulent, right? They trying to tell him that he has to go through a circuit court judge to change his name. And I told him, you tell him you're not changing your name. Rodney James is Rodney James. You got to tell them you're correcting your name by way of common law. And by you file, I'm just putting y'all on notice, and by you filing that document, right? Because they trying to hit him with falsifying the signature on a ticket, right? Because he signed Rashada Bay instead of signing Rodney James. And now, mind you, he also served them his documents, where it clearly states, they don't know how to read though, of course. It clearly states on there on the first page, Rashada Bay, indigenous appellation Rashada Bay, coming from ex-rel Rodney James in all caps. It says that on that page, it says it on like 3 other pages. They didn't